fuck less. Long target. A+. They're fixed. These are the mags I wanted in the first place. Better polymers are much stiffer, thicker sidewalls. The feed lips are stiffer, they don't flex. They're so awesome, I'm going to break them out into their own tabletop review. Steel wrapped fore-end around the retention hole. Amazing. They've been 100% reliable with brass ammo. Love the Mini-14 too.
This is a good run.
Thanks, bro. Night falling. Quick video, tactical doodle, Nutnfancy in the desert. Good news on Tapco. Seriously. See you guys later. Hey Mini-14 fans in the Nutnfancy project, check out this great news. Finally, a reality. Say hello to probably the best Mini-14 magazine on the planet, the Tapco steel reinforced polymer Gen 2s. Hello everybody, this is Nutnfancy running the Nutnfancy project, TMP for short. Thanks for watching the video, subscribing, your friendship. It means a heck of a lot to me. Can't and won't do it without you. Part of my job here in the Nutnfancy project is testing and review. Guns and gear, honest, high integrity reviews are what you're going to get here in the Nutnfancy project, and sometimes it is extremely painful for me to do that. Such was the case when I reviewed the Generation 1 magazines for the Mini-14 by Tapco. If you were to go watch that video, and actually I think I'm going to leave it out there because it is informational, it does give history onto how we've arrived to this point, you will see me not pulling punches on that first gen magazine. And to be honest, I think they were just a little bit before first gen because they were kind of some pre-production samples that I received directly from Tapco, and I love Tapco. But that being said, as a high integrity gear reviewer and a huge fan of the Mini-14, advocating some reliable and awesome polymer feeding devices like this, I had to tell the truth, and I did just that in the video, and thus began a collaborative process between myself, that is running the Nutnfancy project, and Tapco, which has directly resulted into this awesome magazine. And it is indeed awesome. I'll cover all the details as best I can in this Nutnfancy tabletop review. But first, for perhaps guys and gals who may find this video joining us late in the Mini-14 saga here in the Nutnfancy project, let me do some reviewing. Very quickly, I have been a fan of the Mini-14 ever since the 1980s when I got my first one. It's been an integral part of the Nutnfancy clan arsenal. Long time. Mini-14 is a great gun. It's a high-value tactical carbine. It is reliable. It is accurate. It is reasonably lightweight depending on how you configure it. I've done series of videos on the weapon system to start off with, I think all the way back to 2008. The Mini-14 series on the ranch rifle, I think I call that the home defender. Then one of my favorites, Mini-14 Against the World, where I pitted the Mini-14 against an AK variant rifle, the outstanding Arsenal, SGL 21 I think, may have been a 31, don't remember, and then an awesome high-value Rock River Arms entry tactical AR-15. Mini-14 accounted for itself quite well in that testing, and then I rolled that testing and review into a dedicated tabletop of this gun, an example of the Mini-14 Tactical. Yes, I am a fan and the gun rocks. At least when it has a good magazine, it rocks, right? Let's start off with a little bit of a magazine review, part of the Mini-14 saga for all the owners, and guys and gals who have had this gun for many years now know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to go least quality to highest quality. First we have some, I'm going to take these off the table, we'll talk about those here in a sec. We have some really cheesy ones that have been out there since the 1980s. And I'm sorry, ProMag, I like some of the stuff you do, but this one is not one of them. Here comes a relatively lightweight, I wrote all my weights down, look how high tech. The 4.4 ounce polymer magazine by ProMag. Sorry, don't like it, garbage. Check this out. When you load it, the feed lips splay apart, changes the feed angle. I've seen these crack before. These are a very low quality, what I call gun show quality mag for the Mini-14. I hate them. Garbage. They make a steel one. So did Federal Ordnance. So did Triple K. Here's a Pro Mag. This is a little bit better. Also more affordable than the factory mags, which I'll talk about here. It ain't no lightweight at 8 ounces though. But this is also not 100% reliable in my experience. You may have a good batch of Pro Mags that feed pretty good. The angles are right, it locks solidly in place. It may not lock your bolt back because of follower issues. Quality control is mostly good, but not always 100% with these steel Pro Mags, and just like the factory one, it is heavy. And there's some others I'm not going to cover, but that's generally what we've been stuck with. And then when Ruger finally lifted its magazine ban, I'm calling it a ban, they just weren't selling them to the public, we finally got these. That's the same one you see stuck in the Tactical Mini-14 right here, just Duracoated in underbrush, I think is that coloration. Love it. I did the Duracoat job on this one. These are great magazines. Don't get me wrong, I think I said that in my first tabletop review and all the ones that I've done on the Mini. They are, however, extremely heavy. Another high-tech way of showing you. 9 ounces? Yeah, because it's made of steel. The upside of the Ruger factory Mini-14 magazine, it is 100% reliable. I mean, you might have an occasional issue, but it's as reliable as a magazine can be in my experience, both with steel and brass cased ammunition. I still love it. It's just too darn heavy. And actually, it's too darn expensive sometimes, depending on how much coin you got. Here we go. Tapco Gen 2s. It was no easy task getting to this point. Again, going back to my testing and review, June 2010, didn't pull any punches. I called it as I saw it, and I recommended to Tapco publicly that they really change the design to make it a great magazine. First and foremost, for a magazine to be great, it has to be reliable. 100% reliable. Okay, and in my experience, those Gen 1, actually pre-production, Tapco Mini-14 mags were not that. I had several issues on feeding, jams of every sort and description. It seemed like they would feed about 10 rounds and then stop. I think immediately after I posted that review and talking directly to Tapco, and by the way, there were many phone calls between myself and Tapco, awesome dudes, they changed the makeup of the polymers on the Gen 1. So I think that was an immediate improvement. The pre-production ones, I think, had a softer, more flexible polymer, and that causes issues. if you're going to make a polymer magazine, not that I'm an expert, but I am a user, and I can see what's happening out in the field as I'm shooting and shucking rounds, you need to have them stiff as close as you can, mimicking a high quality factory magazine like the Ruger. Okay, they did just that. But I went on in my my rail-a-thon of that Gen 1 magazine. First and foremost, I said I really doubt it's going to be durable, because this is not a slide-in magazine. We don't slide in like a, you know, an AR-15 mag. It rocks in and it engages in a very high wear area. Here's a Ruger factory magazine, as you can see right here on the pin. So there's a pin here, you rock it in. This has to be durable. This has to be durable. By the way, I don't know what I have on there. It might be blood. It probably is blood from some run and gun. Cut myself, whatever. All right, so I called for Tapco in the improvement of their magazine to steel reinforce this area. I said it's really no use to put a magazine out there that is crap, just like that Pro Mag one you've seen. We already have crap. We need some really quality stuff. Witness the now steel reinforced Tapco Mini-14 magazine. Doing exactly what I advocated, and that is steel strapping that whole pin area, steel reinforcing it. Look at that great job they did. Talking with Tapco, by the way, this was hard for them to do. You remember we had the SHOT Show booth review 2011 in January. We talked to Bill and company there. He was saying we're working on that Gen 2 magazine. We appreciate the input, and we're doing the best we can get it to you. Yes, it took a year and a half to do it, but from what I gather, it was no easy chore for Tapco. Big kudos for Tapco sticking with the project and not being, how do I say, content to let their first gens just rule the roost. They were just like, hey, you know what? We can make these better. It's going to cost us money. They went ahead and did it. So guys, tell Tapco thanks. It took a lot of effort on their parts. Here it is. That's the biggest improvement I can see. The next, I shouldn't say biggest, the biggest is its reliability. Okay, both of these mags have shot recently. I'm talking within the last 3 weeks I shot them, and these were sent directly to me from Tapco for TNR testing and review. Probably 350 rounds. Ouch, that's expensive. Yeah, but I want to make sure you guys got a good test. And I will say this, with brass ammo, 100% reliable, experiencing no problems whatsoever. They feed very slick. There is an asterisk there. The asterisk goes like this. With steel, I still had issues with the polymer magazine. Sorry, still there. But Nutnfancy, you say they're the best magazines in the world. They are, because in my opinion, steel is a training ammo. I don't rely on steel for any type of serious defensive work, nor should you, unless you have no other option. And so these will shuck brass 100%. I'm not really sure why steel is still hanging up in these. And I not only fired probably about 100 rounds of steel through these. Again, it would feed a little bit and then not feed. But I also dry cycled like 4 magazines worth and confirmed it. I have 3 of these black magazines, still not shucking steel. But with brass, which I think most guys are shooting, I shoot a lot of steel, but I think most people shoot brass, 100% reliable. Floor plate, standard Gen 2 style. It's easily removed. Awesome. The ribbing, strong, and it's not obnoxious. Some of the earlier versions of Tapco magazines had very pronounced ribbing that made them difficult to insert and extract from your magazine pouches. Not so with the Gen 2 Mini-14 magazine. Love it. Check out the feed lips. Thick. I left them loaded for 3 days straight and tested them after that. Is there any flex, any spreading of the feed lips, which actually is like the curse to any polymer magazine. Didn't experience it. Awesome job. And here comes the best part. I had it written down. Oh, you already saw it. 4.4 ounces. Awesome. That's why I'm going to declare it the best magazine in the world for the Mini-14. The 4.4 ounce, 100% reliable with brass ammo, super lightweight, super tough, Gen 2 magazine by Tapco, and value is going to be high too. I'm going to say probably in the realm of, I think when the production gets going, gets cranking, probably what you see the other Tapco magazines going for. I mean, I was at Impact Guns today. I saw AK Tapco mags, their latest gen, for $9.99 on the shelf. So I think eventually you'll see the prices go down to that level. Initially, they're probably going to be higher. Oh, and by the way, let's check the fit. That's a very critical thing in a Mini-14 of these Gen 2 magazines. In that other review, I said, tighten them up a little bit. Check that. If you don't think that's impressive, put in the steel Ruger mag and you will find that it locks exactly the same way. That garbage Pro mag I just threw off the table doesn't lock that way. It'll flex back and forth, and one of the reasons this locks so solidly in the Mini-14, right there, baby, the steel strap that I advocated. Awesome, awesome job. Very excited to get these. The only bad thing is, now that I've done a review on it, I can't go buy any myself because they're going to sell out. Word of wisdom to you guys. If you go order Tapco Mini-14 magazines, please make sure you're getting the Gen 2s. I would stay away from the Gen 1s. I know the Gen 1s have the improvement of the polymers. Later on, I've heard good experiences from guys that they're running Gen 1s are like, hey, that was work good for me. But dude, seriously, don't you want to get this? Absolutely. Yeah, Gen 2s are going to rock. Now, by the way, if Ruger is jealous of Tapco's success and they come out finally with a polymer magazine for the Mini-14, just like they did with their 1022 finally, you know what? I'd give my allegiance to Tapco. They're the ones that ran with the ball. They're the ones that spent all the developmental money on it. They're the ones that are willing to work with us here in the Nutnfancy project, patiently developing this awesome magazine. Even if Ruger comes out with one, I'm going to throw my weight behind Tapco, because Ruger sat on their butts all these years never delivering a polymer magazine, or for that matter, lightweight aluminum rings for the Mini-14, which I called for them to do a long time ago. Never did it. Bummer. Allegiance Tapco, huge win. Awesome, awesome job. It was worth all the work and honestly the expense that I had to put forth in testing and working with these guys, but the real credit goes to Tapco, an awesome American, made in the US, by the way, company that listens to its consumers. I told you that in the first review. I told you they would fix it, and here they did. Best magazines for the Mini-14, hands down. That's a Nutnfancy review. Very excited.
Heating up the Mini-14. Oh yeah. That baby up nice.
Those magazines rock.
Boy, they rock. I wouldn't issue one with it.
I'm pretty happy with them.
Yeah, they perform very well.
$5 if you lick that barrel.
No, no thanks.
Tapco Gen 2 Mini-14 mags. Probably the best Mini-14 mag in the world right now, because it's lighter than the factory steel. Those are excellent mags, but they're heavy. And the way this thing is built now, Gen 2, incorporating all my suggested improvements from my initial review, wrapped in steel reinforced lips, improved floor plate, strong rib design, doesn't flex at all even when loaded to 30 rounds. Huge win. Love the Tapco Mini-14 magazine. Buy 12 today.
Very impressive.
Awesome.